Every Christmas, my mum calls me a disappointment for not bringing a boyfriend. This year, I set my phone to vibrate at 7:15. When the doorbell rang, the room didn't know the difference between a date and a life I chose on purpose. Snow pushed against the windows like a quiet crowd. The house smelled like cinnamon and ham. The tree leaned from too many ornaments, baby shoes for my sister. A first Christmas engaged for her fiancé framed school photos of my cousins. My stocking hung lower than the rest because the hook was loose. No one fixed it. No one ever did. Grace, Mum called from the kitchen, wipe your boots, and try not to bring in your independence. She said independence like a stain. I set my pie on the counter. Hi, Mum. Lauren swept in wearing a velvet dress the color of cranberries. Tyler, her fiancé, with the perfect teeth, hovered behind her, carrying nothing, and congratulating himself for being helpful. Dad adjusted the TV volume like it was the only thing he knew how to control. So, Mum said, lining rolls on a tray, "Is there anyone we should set a place for?" Her voice was bright and sharp at the same time. A nice man. A normal man. Someone. Just me, I said. Like always, she smiled with only the top half of her face. You're 30. Families are built 2 by 2. At the shelter where I work, they're often built to buy anyone who At my apartment, they're built from paperwork and a blue quilt folded on a brand new twin bed. I kept those thoughts behind my teeth. I touched the thick envelope in my coat pocket, still warm from my hands. Approved in block letters on county letterhead. A name under it, that wasn't mine. A life that would be. Tyler cleared his throat like a small announcement. We brought a Secret Santa game, he said, holding up a bag. Rules are simple. No heavy gifts. Perfect, Mum said. We wouldn't want to make the evening complicated. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and write in the comments about which country you're watching this video from. Enjoy the story. The TV cut to carols. The clock clicked towards 7:15. I checked the peephole out of habit, even though I knew there'd be nothing there yet. My phone buzzed against my Palmer calendar alert I'd set 3 weeks ago. Front door. 7:15 p.m. It wasn't a date reminder. It was a promise. Any special news, Grace? Mum asked, arranging the napkins like a judge arranging evidence. Or should we brace for another year of disappointment? I looked at my stocking, hanging low, and then at the door. Actually, I said, yes. The bell rang once, clean, certain. Mum's smile froze. If that's a package, don't. It's not a package, I said, already moving. It's for me. I opened the door to snow and 2 shapes on the porch. A woman in a wool coat with a county badge at her collar. And a small boy in a puffy jacket holding a paper snowflake that had been folded and unfolded 100 times. Grace. The woman asked, breath fogging. I'm Ms. Hayes from Family Services. Sorry, traffic was rough. This is Milo. Milo didn't say anything. He looked past me, scanning the living room like exits. Mum's voice carried from the dining room. If that's a package, we don't need any more boxes in the foyer. It's not a package, I said. I stepped aside. Come in. Warm air rolled out. Milo stepped over the threshold in careful inches, boots squeaking. He kept the snowflake in a fist, tight as a secret. Ms. Hayes shook off the cold and lowered her voice. Emergency placement, she said. 48 hours at minimum. Mum is in the hospital. Regular home is full. You're cleared. If this isn't a good time, it is, I said. It's exactly the time. Behind me, Dad muted the game. Lauren and her fiancé turned in the glow of the tree. Mum rounded the corner with a dish towel on her shoulder like a flag. Her smile was bright and brittle. Grace, what is happening? I set the thick envelope on the hall table and opened it so the words showed in big letters, approved, under it. The printed email with today's date, placement confirmation, Milo A. My name, below it. My address. The blue ink signature. I got licensed, I said. Classes, background checks, the home visit. The room is ready. Mum blinked like a camera. You brought a child here. On Christmas Eve. Ms. Hayes kept her tone even. Ma'am, Grace is the foster parent of record. We already spoke on the phone this afternoon. With who? Mum asked. Me? I said. Dad frowned at the envelope as if it might argue back. Where will he sleep? In my apartment, I said, after dinner. I thought we could eat here first. I looked at Milo. He looked at the stockings, then at the floor. If that's okay with him. Milo's voice was small and sandpapery. Do you? Have to be quiet. Only if you want quiet, I said. We also have hot chocolate. Ms. Hayes offered a canvas tote, clothes, toothbrush, inhaler, with spacer, his Okagist watch scents, and cold air. Mum started to reach for a cinnamon candle, then stopped herself. Her hand hovered. The towel slipped off her shoulder. We set the table for 6, she said, softer but still sharp at the edges. We're still 6, I said. I'll grab the folding chair. Lauren beat me to the closet. I know where it is, she said, voice steady in a new way. To Milo, she added, we have an ornament shaped like a dinosaur. Want to see it? He nodded once without lifting his eyes. He kept the snowflake. Ms. Hayes checked her watch. I'll be back by 9 to check in. Roads are ugly, so if I'm late, don't panic. She crouched to Milo's height. You're safe here, she said. Grace knows what to do. Milo finally looked up at someone's face. Not Miss Hayes's, mine, he whispered. Is there a hook with my name? My throat tightened. There will be, I said. Mom exhaled in a way I recognized like a bridge finding weight. The oven is on, she said to nobody in particular. We can heat extra rolls? She put the candle back in the drawer. Dad cleared his throat. Milo, he tried, the word careful in his mouth. Do you like football? He gestured at the muted TV. Or cartoons? Stars, Milo said, barely above a breath. I have a nightlight that makes stars, I told him. We can try it after dinner. Ms. Hayes zipped her coat. Text if you need me. She met my mother's eyes and added, gently, thank you for making room. The door closed on a gust of snow and a quiet decision. I hung Milo's jacket by the vent and took his snowflake. You pick the spot, I said. Anywhere. He looked at the tree, then at the empty space where my stocking drooped from the loose hook. He pointed there. Good choice, I said. I reached for my bag felt letters, plain red stocking. A screwdriver. Mum watched the screwdriver like it was a language she didn't speak yet. It's just a hook, I said, tightening the screw. It always needed fixing. I tightened the loose screw. The hook stopped wobbling. The tree light reflected off the screwdriver like a wink. Okay, I said, holding up the plain red stocking. Where should this go, Milo? He didn't look at the bottom branches. His eyes climbed straight to the gap between Mum and Dad, where my drooping stocking had always hung a little lower. He pointed there, small but sure. Good choice, I said. I peeled the felt letters and pressed them on MILOCOXOX in the cutest way. I hung the stocking and stepped back, so he could see it breathe with the rest. The room went very quiet. Lauren's hand found the folding chair. She set it at the table like she'd rehearsed it her whole life. I'm moving the napkins, she said, light but firm. We make room. Mum stood perfectly still, dish towel limp over her shoulder. Grace, she whispered, as if the word had turned new in her mouth. What are you doing? What I planned, I said. What I'm licensed to do. Tyler always performing, helpful cleared his throat. We should, say grace. He offered like a joke that could rescue the moment. Hot chocolate first, I said to Milo, then Grace. I warmed milk on the stove. No candles, no cinnamon. Ms. Hayes's note in the file said scents could set his lungs off. A red spacer and 2 puffs, if coughing persists 3 times until it lived in me. Milo hovered in the doorway. The superhero backpack still on like armor. Am I allowed to talk at dinner? He asked. You're allowed to be a person, I said, talking included. Dad stared at the approved letter on the hall table, like it might sprout legs and walk away. You did all this without telling us. You told me Christmas was about families built to buy too, I said softly. This is how I build. I set the mug down with too many marshmallows. Milo's shoulders dropped a half-inch. He cradled the cup in both hands and watched the tree lights float on the surface like tiny boats. Mum's voice sharpened. "We are not a shelter. We are having dinner." "We still are," Lauren answered, before I could. "We just added a chair." Mum's eyes flashed. "This is not real. This is a project." The word hit Milo like a sound he knew. He flinched. I crouched, so he only had to look at me. "You are not a project," I said. "You are the whole point." My phone buzzed. "Ms. Hayes, road advisory might extend to 48 hours. Mum's stable but can't take him back yet. I'll call at 9. I met Lauren's eyes. She read the text over my shoulder and didn't look away. "Okay," she said. "Then we make a plan." Mum reached for the drawer with the holiday candles out of habit, then stopped. Her hand hovered, then retreated. A tiny surrender. "Grace," she said. Quieter. "Where would he sleep?" "In my apartment," I said. "Room is ready. Blue quilt. Nightlight with stars." Milo echoed, the first hint of wonder edging past fear. "Yeah," I said. "They move on the ceiling. It's ridiculous." Tyler finally smiled like a person, not a brochure. "That's cool." Dad cleared his throat. "You have everything you need." "I do," I said. "But I won't turn down help carrying leftovers." A beat of silence. The house held its breath, like it always does, before something changes. Mum lifted her chin. "I'm calling the county," she said. "This is..." Sudden, she dialed the number on the card. Speaker rings. Ms. Hayes picked up on the second family services. "This is Grace's mother," Mum said, voice crisp. We weren't consulted. Ms. Hayes's tone stayed warm. "Ma'am, the licensed foster parent is Grace. We consult the foster parent. Milo is safe there." Mum's knuckles went white around the phone. She hung up, without good dash by dot. I poured cocoa for everyone, because sometimes negotiations start with something warm you can hold. Lauren slid a cookie onto Milo's saucer. "This one has a dinosaur," she said. "Coincidence or fate, you decide." The front door rattled in the wind. The clock ticked toward 9. The lights flickered, once not dramatic. Just a reminder the night could still tilt. Milo looked up at his stocking hat, his name standing straight in the line. "Do I really get to keep that?" he asked. "You do," I said. We already made room. My phone buzzed again. Unknown number, local. I glanced down. Dana County nurse line, storm worsening. "Quick question about asthma plan. Can you call me back in 2? I looked at my mother. She looked back at me. Something shifting behind her eyes, like a picture finally lining up with its frame. "Go," she said, very softly. "We'll serve the plates." I picked up the file and the phone, and the room began to rearrange itself around a new center. I stepped into the hallway with the file and hit call. "Dana. This is Grace." "Got you," she said, over a line that crackled like sleet. "Quick asthma plan. To puffs with the spacer if he's coughing. Repeat in 20 minutes if needed. Avoid scented candles and aerosol sprays. Warm mist helps run a hot shower and sit in the steam if he tightens. I'll check in at 9. Roads are ugly, so assume I'm late." "Copy," I said. "He's here. He's watching the lights. Good sign," she said, then softer. "You're doing great." I hung up and turned back toward the living room, just in time to see Tyler the fiance flick a little silver lighter. A green glass jar caught flame. Winter pine bloomed into the air. "No candles," I said, too fast. "It's festive," he said. Like the word could win, Milo coughed once. A sharp, barked sound. His hand went to his chest like he knew the script. I crossed the room, capped the candle with a coaster, and slid it back into the drawer. "Asthma trigger," I said, already kneeling. "Milo, can we do the spacer?" He nodded and handed me the inhaler. Tiny brave. We did 2 puffs together, slow breaths. "Smell hot chocolate?" I coached. He did. The cough softened, then stopped. Mum stood very still with the dish towel in her hands. For once, she didn't have a line ready. Lauren took the green glass jar from the counter and tucked it far into the pantry like it had teeth. Dad cleared his throat. "What else should we not do?" he asked, and it didn't sound like a challenge. It sounded like instructions. "No sprays," I said. "No cologne cloud. Keep the kitchen window cracked when the oven's on." "We're okay." The heater clicked, and the tree hummed. The storm pushed at the glass like a big, bored cat. I poured cocoa refills and set out plain crackers because sometimes bland is kindness. Mum stared at the approved letter, then at the stocking line, Mum, Dad, Lauren, Tyler and the new red one that said Milo in crooked felt. She set the towel down slowly, like putting away a flag. "Where does he sleep?" she asked, but the edge in her voice had melted. "In my place," I said. "Room's ready. After dinner, I'll take him home." Lauren slid a kid plate with blue rims in front of the folding chair. "You can sit by me," she told Milo. "I'm good at stealing extra rolls." He looked up from his cocoa. "Am I allowed to laugh?" "You are," Lauren said, as if she'd been waiting a year to say something right. My phone buzzed on the hall table. "Ms. Hayes, storm upgraded. Likely extends to Sunday night. Also, Tyler's mum stable but can't discharge. Caseworker may ask for short-term, 2 to 3 weeks." My stomach dipped and then leveled. I lifted my eyes to Mum. She was already watching me, some calculation loosening behind her face. "What?" she asked, not defensive, now curious, braced. "Placement might be longer," I said. 2 or 3 weeks. If I say yes." Tyler's fork paused mid-air. Dad looked at the snow on the window. Lauren didn't blink. Milo's hand tightened on the paper snowflake he had tucked into his sleeve like a passport. Before anyone could answer, the house exhaled hard. The chandelier flickered, the TV blinked, and the kitchen went dark. Power out. A collective inhale froze us all. "Don't open the oven," I said, already moving. I grabbed my tote, clicked on an LED lantern, and set it in the center of the table. Soft light bloomed. I found the small power pack and plugged in a nightlight I'd brought because hope likes outlets. Stars crawled up the ceiling and spread across the walls like a quiet, moving sky. Milo's mouth made a small "oh" he forgot to hold. His shoulders so high, Mum watched the stars wash over the family photos and land on her hands. She didn't reach for a candle. She reached for a drawer of labels and a black marker. Slowly, like learning a new alphabet, she wrote Milo knit block letters and pressed the label under his stocking hook, smoothing the corners until they stuck. The room changed shape. "Grace," she said, voice steady in the lantern light. "Tell me what you need. I'll do it." The wind pushed at the door as if to test our hinges. My phone vibrated again, an unknown number. County Exchange, just as the doorbell chimed once in the dark. We all looked at the door. I took a breath that felt like stepping onto a new floor. "Okay," I said. "We're ready." The handle turned. Ms. Hayes slipped in with the storm. Snow in her hair and a canvas tote hugged to her chest. "Power's out up and down the block," she said, closing the door with her hip. I couldn't get the call through. Brought Milo's overnight kit and a warmer jacket. Also, she pulled out a small stuffed fox. This guy. Milo's fingers left his paper snowflake. He took the fox and held it like a secret he might keep. The lantern threw calm light. The star projector sent slow constellations across the ceiling. Ms. Hayes clocked both and exhaled. "You made it cozy," she said, relief in her voice. Then, gentler, update. "Roads are closed. Placement is extended through Sunday night at minimum. After that, caseworker may ask for short-term while Mum stabilizes." I need an answer that isn't brave for the room, just true. I looked at Milo, at the fox, at the crooked felt letters under his stocking. Then I looked at my mother. She didn't reach for a candle. She reached for the folded kid blanket we keep for visiting cousins and handed it to Milo without flinching. "He can stay," she said. "We'll make it work." Dad nodded like a person choosing, not surrendering. "We've got soup on the stove and a generator in the garage if the power stays down," he said. "I'll pull it if we need the fridge." Lauren tapped a spot beside her chair. "Seats saved," she told Milo. I promise not to steal your role unless you blink too long. Tyler, the fiancé, opened his mouth, saw 3 faces he didn't recognize on us, and closed it. Right, he said. No candles. Ms. Hayes smiled at me. I'll log it as a yes, she said. You call if anything tilts. She paused at the door. Milo. You're allowed to laugh at the dinner table. He gave her the smallest nod in the world. We ate by lantern. Dad carved slower than usual, like he was cutting a fragile thing. Lauren whispered commentary about green beans, as if vegetables were a sport. Mum did not say disappointment. She passed the rolls to Milo first, and then to me. Have to finish everything? Milo asked, testing rules. Nope, I said. You have to try the marshmallows on hot chocolate. That's the law. A laugh caught in his throat, and then made it out, real and uneven. The room turned a degree warmer after dishes done gently. Without the TV roaring over Usai, took Milo to the room with the blue quilt. We plugged in the starlight to the little power pack. The fox went under his chin. He looked at the moving sky and then at me. Do I get to stay till Sunday? He asked. You do, I said, and longer if we need to. He nodded and closed his eyes like a door that finally knew its frame. When I came back to the living room, Mum was standing by the stockings. She looked at Mum, Dad, Lauren, the new Milo, and then at mine. The hook I had tightened held firm, but my stocking still hung a notch lower because somebody hung the nail that way years ago. She turned to me, lantern light soft on her face. I said something ugly for a lot of years, she said. I'm sorry. A breath. You're not a disappointment. You're the reason this house feels like Christmas tonight. It wasn't a speech. It was a change. Dad cleared his throat. Pancakes in the morning, he said, like a plan. I make stars with the batter. Seems on theme. Lauren leaned on the doorframe and grinned. And I'll bring over the dinosaur ornament I forgot at home. It's only fair. Ms. Hayes texted thank you with a snowflake emoji and a time for her morning check-in. The wind kept talking to the windows. The lantern hummed. Somewhere down the hall, a small breath evened out under a blue quilt. Every Christmas, my mother wanted me to bring a boyfriend. This year, I opened the door to a boy who needed just one adult to say, you belong here, and the room learned a new shape for love. The storm will pass. The power will click back. The stars will go dark, but the hook is steady now. The name is on the line, and for the first time, I didn't need anyone to change the room for me. I changed it.